Hey, this is Monique. I am still reading Proverbs 27:8, and it says, like a bird that flees its nest is anyone who flees from home. So, since humans are being compared to birds, I wanted to keep looking at what do birds do. And so, one of the things I discovered this week is that there's a thing that birds do called murmurations, and that is that massive aerial stunt of birds swooping and diving in unison. And while they're in these groups together, these massive groups, they exchange information about feeding areas. At night, they keep warm together. And then one of the things is that there is safety in numbers because the predators find it hard to get through. So the question becomes, do we know who our predators are as Black Americans? Do we really want to admit it? Do we really want to give up on trying to ignore this basic fact? And birds know who their predators are, and so should we. I'm reading this book. Let me read this excerpt. Actually, I've read this book a number of times. The subtitle is Great Issues of a Race from 4500 BC to 2000 AD. This book was written back in the early 70s, and research to write this book was done from the 50s through the 60s. It says, the author's conviction that the main obstacles which confronted us in the past and are with us today will still be with us in the year 2000 and after. Blacks will still be meeting, listening to, and applauding fiery, soul-stirring speeches, protesting and denouncing injustices, or happily relying on politics as the ultimate solution of our problems. And yes, this is still happening 20 years into the next century. So, the very first major obstacle to be overcome involves a mental revolution out of which Black America faces up to the stark reality that white America as a whole is our enemy. It is our predator. That Blacks will be recognized only in a subordinate role, that the scattering of Black office holders high and low really means nothing to the race as a whole, that there are actually two sets of laws as administered, one for whites and one for Blacks, just as there are two sets of wages and prices, and finally that the Blacks' loyalty and devotion to the whites, in spite of all they have done and still do against them, mystifies the whites themselves and confirms anew their belief that such humble dog attitudes indicate inferiority independently of everything else. Until African Americans are quite clear in their own minds about their real situation in this country, all talk about unity and achieving equal justice will be just that, useless talk. We have to know who the real enemy is. Thank you.